Here in my garage, just got this new Jeep Wrangler that I've owned for 8, 9 years. Um, I'm filming this in my garage because I wanted to say that line, and totally not because I'm too nervous to film a YouTube video in the driveway while people are outside. Anyways, some people have been asking about this thing and the fact that I tow with it. Partially because it's the only tow rig I kind of have. My choices for vehicles to drive every day comes down to this and a GR86 because I make poor financial decisions and think that daily driving a sports car is a great idea. So I have to tow with this and also wheel it in the summer, which is a terrible combination, but it's a fun combination, and that's the important part. There's also this thing back here. That's a whole other fucking issue. But yeah, there's a couple of things that I've had to do to it. Partially, a lot of it's not you need to do it for a tow rig, but at the end of the day, it kind of makes it nicer. And if you're gonna be stuck driving a TJ in the winter, you want to have some creature comfort. Starting off, over the summer, in the middle of summer, I decided to tear the interior out of it, and I painted the floors again for the third time since I've owned it. And I put in bed rug this time because the old carpet was moldy and filled with oil and all bunch of other stuff. And I am not the kind of person to rip the carpet out of my TJ. I don't like bare steel floors. It's weird to me. So I did bed rug, and then I ended up going with the Quadratec floor mats because WeatherTechs are big money, and Quadratec is a cool Jeep name. They got a cool Jeep tread too, and for the $80 I think I spent on it, that was good enough for me. The big thing is in the winter when you step into it with like very snowy boots, it just kind of pulls up inside the floor mat as opposed to leaking out onto the carpet. But it's bed rug, so I don't even have to wash the carpet. So it's like kind of getting two birds stoned at once, which is convenient. The next up, since we're on the topic of interior, there's a Bluetooth radio in it. It's been it since I bought it. The main part is it's a Bluetooth radio, so I don't have to be stuck listening to the radio stations here, which really aren't that great. Uh, so I might upgrade to a single DIN Apple CarPlay unit if anyone's interested in me being the guinea pig for an $80 radio on Amazon and wants to see how that'll do. I might do it because it looks pretty neat and I don't like double DINs. Another thing, since we're on top of the smaller stuff, I undercoated this thing this year with fluid film black. Um, I thought I had a can around here, but it took 3 cans and I got most of it. I didn't do the axles and stuff like that because the axles aren't gonna rot through, and also these are the like Sahara axles, so I don't think I'm gonna keep them. The front axles got a whole bunch of negative camber anyway. I just did like the important stuff, like the frame, inside the frame rail, underneath the skid plate, up inside where the torque boxes are, or on the floor panels. Anything that you see rotted out on a TJ, you should fluid film the ever living fuck out of it. It's worth the money, I find. It did cost me $60 Canadian, which is a hell of a deal if you think about it. Or if you want, you can take it to like a Crown place. But the big thing is, if you're gonna drive it in the winter, undercoat it because it's a TJ and they rot just existing. Now on to more of the fun parts. The biggest thing on a TJ is that they steer like absolute garbage because of the inverted Y steering that they have going on. So I went with what everyone has been putting on a TJ in the last 15 years, which is the Curry Correct Link. It's a lot heavier duty than the stock steering, like by far. Like I think it uses the 1 ton joints. So now you can tell people you have 1 ton steering, as if that does anything. Uh, I'm a big fan of it. I have an install video I shot 2.5 years ago when I actually put it on. If anyone wants to see it, maybe we'll go around to actually finishing the editing process on that. But I honestly, for the $700 Canadian I spent on it, I was a big fan. There's no steering play in it. I can actually hit small objects, even like a snowbank. It's not going to bend the stock steering arms. It just makes it drive nicer on the highway, which is important when you're trying to tow 1,500 pounds behind it. Next up is the lift, and I'm going to put a bit of an asterisk behind that. Buy a good lift. If you're going to buy a rough country lift, don't buy the base model rough country lift. It's kind of hot garbage. This guy is a 4-inch, and I'm still running the stocks that are like the factor or the rough country springs and shocks. They're bent to fuck. I need to buy Bilsteins or Ranchos. The springs are all right for like the money you spend. I did have to buy rear upper control arms, and I've had to buy a set of lower control arms twice because the bushings don't last. But the rear upper control arms is going to be on for my next topic, which is a slip yoke eliminator. If you've driven a lifted TJ without one and you have that stupid transfer case block that drops the transfer case 2 inches down, you know what I mean. It's garbage. Keep your transfer case at the factory location and put a slip yoke eliminator in. It makes it less vibratey. You're not going to break U joints. You end up getting a new rear drive shaft, and I went with the Adams drive shaft, I believe. I can't remember which one it is. There's a couple good ones. As long as the drive shaft is a shaft that drives and is good quality, and people on forums from 10 years ago talk about it, that's really the important kind of notes to hit. But the big thing is no longer having a stupid transfer case drop, because it makes angles a lot worse, and sometimes you break your shifter linkage off, and that's not great. Next up is I have a set of Goodyear Duratrax on here. On a stock TJ, you can fit 33s if you're ballsy. I had 33s on this thing when it was like these 33s. It was alright. It did clearance into the fenders a little bit, which if you have slightly rustier fenders, it'll end up knocking the flares off. But they're kind of not the greatest, at least in a wide, like on a wide wheel. They're not the greatest in hard packed snow or ice. They tend to kind of slide around. But the reason I have them is when you get onto a snowy road and there's like 8 inches of snow, it's just gonna drive through it no problem. In all honesty, if there's snow up to the bumper, you're gonna want Duratrax, and they have the benefit of being a highway, or more of a highway tire than a lot of others like mud terrain options. I'm kind of a Duratrack nerd. This is like my 7th set on vehicles I've driven, so like for what it's worth, they're pretty good. If I were to do it again, I would probably have a dedicated set of winter wheels, but I don't have the money for that. So these are just the stock, or the not the stock, but the 15x10s I run in the summer. And it does make it a bit of a slip and slide on the hard pack days, but you kind of learn to drive around it. Or if you leave it in 4-wheel drive, it kind of fixes itself. In 2-wheel drive, if you miss a downshift when you're rev matching, it kind of does slide out a little bit. And when you first touch the brake, the back end likes to slide. But you kind of learn to drive around that. If this thing actually had factory ABS, it wouldn't even be an issue. But factory ABS is nonsense anyway. Next up is something which is kind of self-explanatory, I would hope, and that's a trailer hitch. Otherwise, this wouldn't really be a tow rig if it didn't have a trailer hitch. And then the wiring for it, because these things didn't really come with trailer wiring from the factory. All there is just this cheap splitter harness that runs into where the taillights go. You can get them on eBay for $40. The hitch is a little bit more, probably $150. This one had it when I bought it. I think this is the hideaway hitch. I don't know if it's really hidden. It's kind of very visible. But it works, and it has the benefit of being a rear bumper in the summer. And if I leave my drop hitch in, then I can lift the back end off of it when I slide down a rock, which is always great. If I were to do it again, I'd probably buy a bumper that has a proper hitch built in, but those are rare these days because no one wants to put the liability of having a tow hitch in the rear bumper. And then the next thing, which it's a Jeep and you should probably have anyway, is the winch and the bumper. It's got the Motorbilt kind of Stinger bumper. I love this bumper on the fact that the Stinger is a little too low. Part of the fun of having a Stinger front bumper, I find, is being able to drive and see it in front of your hood, because then you kind of know at all times you have a Stinger. This one's a little low, which is unfortunate, and if I were to do it again, I'd probably go with one that's higher, or also get the grill guards, because I think those look baller. The more important part, though, is it does have a Badlands 12,000-pound winch. I'm Canadian, but I have the glories of being able to just cross a small bridge, and I'm in the States, so there's a Harbor Freight, and this winch was like $400 Canadian after converted. I was a big fan of it. It just has steel line. You might want to oil that if it's in the winter. But I haven't used it, so like I don't know how well it's gonna work yet in the winter. Maybe I should have bought a winch cover, but I'll cross that bridge when I get there. But if it's a Jeep, you're gonna want a winch anyway. It's not like you're gonna be pulling yourself out really in the winter. It's gonna be like you're on the way to a like going snowmobiling and there's a guy that's stuck blocking the trail and you gotta have to winch him off. In all honesty, it's a Jeep. It's probably gonna slide when you winch him, but it's cool to be that guy with a winch. Anyways, there's a couple other minor things. Put a hard top on your Jeep if you're driving in the winter. As someone who drove a Jeep in the winter with a soft top, it was fucking garbage. I'm not doing that again. I actually am, at least on TJ's, I'm a certified soft top hater. I hate zippers. Why are you putting zippers on your windows? The JL figured it out. They got the weird slides. It makes it a lot easier. I just like the simplicity of a hard top. This thing never came with a hard top because it came from Arizona. So it didn't have any of the hard top wiring. So I don't have a rear wiper or the heated windshield, heated rear window plugged in. But it's still nice to be mostly covered and all that. The header seal's fucked. So there's a bit of a draft and water leakage. But I also bought new wiper blades that are for slow snow and ice. That's kind of a given. But it's a TJ. It's going to be garbage anyway. Like, they're 13-inch wiper blades. You're not going to expect much. And lastly, for anyone wondering what I tow with this thing, I have a 6x12 utility trailer I bought from a local dealer here. And I have put 2 4-wheelers on it. I've put 2 snowmobiles on it. I will fill the fuck out of that 6x12. And yeah, that's it for a quick walkthrough of my tow rig, a 2003 Jeep Wrangler.